Equals the Baltic wind bit through the early dawn as Jan Kowalski stood on the pier, the outlines of Danzig's cranes stretching like iron skeletons against a pale sky. Ships from Britain and Sweden once brought chatter and trade, but now their decks were silent, watched by men in brown uniforms with new armbands. Reports already whispered that Berlin's attention had fixed on this tiny city-state. Jan, a customs officer of 10 years, marked the change in the air. The greetings colder, the flags redder. German officials smiled too easily these days. He rubbed his palms, sensing something vast approaching from beyond the horizon. A merchant muttered beside him, "The city's not ours anymore." Jan looked toward the Westerplatte peninsula, its Polish soldiers standing proud against the rising tide. "Not yet," he murmured. The gulls screamed above the harbor, as if warning that peace was slipping quietly downstream.
By spring of 1939, the Free City streets wore new colors. Red banners unfurled from City Hall and the Volkstag, the swastika fluttering where the League of Nations once held neutrality. Jan walked through Długie Probreze, past shopkeepers whispering about arrests and the growing crowds tearing in German. He paused before a mural praising Hitler's leadership, painted overnight. His friend Anna, a postal clerk, hurried past with downcast eyes. "They asked everyone to sign oaths," she whispered. "To Danzig or to the Reich?" Jan asked. Her silence was answer enough. The once cosmopolitan market smelled not of fish and spice, but of fear. Policemen in grey uniforms stood on every corner. In the distance, the sound of a marching band bled into the morning air. With each drumbeat, Jan felt the city's heartbeat fading, replaced by something mechanical, unyielding, unstoppable.
Summer arrived with restless uncertainty. On Westerplatte, Polish troops maintained their small outpost, just a few hundred men guarding a narrow strip of sand and pine. Jan delivered cargo papers there, greeted by Captain František Dabrowski. Over coffee and a cramped barracks, the captain spoke quietly. "We hold an island of order in a sea already claimed by madness." His men maintained discipline, yet eyes turned frequently to the horizon, where German patrols roamed the harbor. "Nothing will happen before harvest," Jan offered hopefully. The captain smiled bleakly. "Hitler doesn't wait for harvests." As Jan left by boat, the evening sun bled crimson over the fortifications. Smoke from the German battleship Schleswig-Holstein drifted lazily nearby, a silent watcher. Jan noted its guns, and in his ledger he wrote a single word, ominous.
By July, secret arrests began. Jan's neighbor, Piotr, disappeared after being accused of anti-German sentiments. The Gestapo had replaced Danzig's police. Posters proclaimed unity, yet the air smelled of deceit. Jan walked home past an alley echoing with boots. From the shadows, a voice hissed, "The free city's gone." A hand thrust leaflets into his coat, underground Polish resistance papers. At home, he stared at his uniform hat resting on the table. Poland's white eagle glimmered faintly in lamplight. "To whom do I belong?" he asked aloud. Outside, thunder rolled over the Baltic. It wasn't storm weather. Artillery practice near the border had become nightly music. Shadows lengthened across the cobblestones, whispering promises of war.
Late August. A telegram arrived from Warsaw headquarters warning that German provocations might soon turn to invasion. "Hold your post," it read simply. Jan reread the words, his hands trembling. The radio crackled with Hitler's latest speech, demanding Danzig's return to the Reich. Crowds gathered around public speakers, shouting their approval. Jan found Anna again at the post office. She avoided his eyes. "They say we'll be part of Germany by September,"
he whispered. "And Poland will stand?" "They'll have to," she said, hope more forced than believed. The air grew heavy, the gulls flew inland, and the harbor stilled as if holding its breath. Somewhere across the border, engines roared awake. Jan looked east, toward a homeland bracing for a storm about to break over them all.
September 1st, 1939 dawned unnaturally still. Then, 6 a.m., the roar of naval guns shattered the silence. The Schleswig-Holstein opened fire on Westerplatte. Jan ran to the harbor just as black smoke billowed skyward. "It's begun!" someone shouted. Civilians scattered, mothers clutching children, church bells wailing over the detonations. Across the water, Polish defenders returned fire. Jan could see flashes where Dabrowski's men fought. German air raids screamed above, their bombs baptizing Europe once more in flame. The free city ceased to be free. Jan's chest burned as he watched the red sky consuming the world he knew. "God help us," he breathed. In that moment, every neutrality treaty, every diplomatic line turned to ash in the wind of war. For 7 days, Westerplatte held. Jan, trapped in Danzig, aided refugees while the city blazed. Each night the sky resembled a forge. German troops poured through the gates, cheering victory before it was even won. Rumors reached him, Dabrowski's garrison still resisting despite overwhelming firepower. Jan smuggled a radio, listening as stations fell silent one by one. "They're still fighting," he told Jana breathlessly. 7 days, they've done the impossible." Yet the air grew black with soot and despair. When Westerplatte finally fell on September 7th, Jan stood on the pier among silent onlookers. "They fought like lions," someone said quietly. Jan removed his hat. The sea, ever indifferent, reflected the flames like molten glass. The German takeover came with chilling efficiency. Polish signs vanished overnight, replaced by German script. New checkpoints sprouted along every street. Jan's office was seized. He was ordered to report to the Reich Customs Bureau. He complied outwardly, but his heart rebelled. Whispers of executions reached him daily. Anna was transferred inland. He never saw her again. He kept one small relic, the Polish eagle pin from his uniform, hidden beneath a loose floorboard. Each evening he would touch it and remember the world before the banners. Radio Danzig now played only marches and triumphant speeches. Outside, the city breathed in rhythm with occupation, obedient, fearful, changed forever. Autumn descended, quiet and gray. Jan began composing letters he could never send, one to the Polish government in exile, another to Anna. He wrote beside a dim candle, ink freezing between thoughts. "Danzig is lost," he penned, "but not forever." Outside, trains rumbled eastward, laden with prisoners. He dared not look too long. Each whistle sounded like a farewell. Still, he clung to hope. Rumors of Polish soldiers regrouping in France, Britain declaring war on Germany. Perhaps, someday, the tide would turn. He sealed the letters, tucked them away in a drawer, and listened to the waves brushing the pier. The city slept beneath enemy banners, but its soul lingered, waiting for dawn.
Years later, long after the guns fell silent, Jan returned to the rebuild of Gdańsk, no longer Danzig, but again a Polish city. The harbor was different, new cranes, new faces, but the wind off the Baltic smelled the same. He stood where Westerplatte's ruins had once smoked, now marked by a monument. Closing his eyes, he heard echoes, the sirens, the shouts, Captain Dabrowski's voice. "We hold an island of order in a sea of madness." Jan knelt, laying his worn eagle pin upon the stone. Above him, children's laughter mingled with seabirds. The sky, for the first time in years, was not red but blue. The free city was free again, though the cost could never be reclaimed.